G'day everyone, and welcome to Grimnyr's Tabletop Miniatures. In this video, I take this Leagues of Votann Grimnyr from Warhammer 40k and kitbash it into my version of a Lord Grimnyr for my Leagues of Votann Warhammer 40k. Alrighty then, let's get these parts out of the box. Alright, so let's sit that box there for a sec. Instructions, I'll sit that there. There's our kit. Hip hip hooray. It's looking alright, I think. Yeah, that's looking nice. Okay, we'll sit that down here. Bases, back, there we go. Right, now, ta-da! Kharadron Overlords Codewright. Now, this clearly isn't the one that I've shown off on the channel before, because this is still in its box, and in the wrapping. So yes, this is the second Codewright I've purchased. The first one being for my actual Kharadron Overlords for Warhammer Age of Sigmar. I did kitbash that one a little. I did a head swap, basically. I think I put Drecky Flint's head on him, if memory serves. Anyway, let's get the plastic off. Now, what I was thinking I could do perhaps is take the backpack part here and the little servo arms that hold these out, the little books, and attach them somehow to the back of the Grimnyr. I might have to reposition his left arm. I don't think I'll have to reposition this one, but we'll see how we go. I imagine this might be a little more difficult than I initially anticipated. But, yeah, we'll see how we go. What success I get out of it, or it could be an utter failure. In which case, some would say, well, don't bother putting the video out. But yeah, if it is a failure, I'll put it out anyway. That way, people, if they come up with a similar idea, can see how not to do it. And if it goes well, which I really hope it does, you can be like, aha, that idea does work. Right, we don't really need to look at all that again, because we've already had a review for that. So we'll just get this cheap screw out of here. Come on. There we go. That face over here. I won't do that right now. Sorry, everyone has bumped the microphone and all. Set that there for a sec. Alright, now at least this and these bits are fairly... You know what? I think I need to check my bits box for my Leagues of Votann. Because the center part of this backpack, as cool as it looks, it is very Kharadron Overlordsy. And if I could maintain this bit up here, but somehow cut part of that out, I think that would be good. Alright. Now, I've got this this big, well not big, but this rather sized Tactics double-sided organizer, which, funnily enough, I actually saw 2 Plus Tough, what's his name, Doug, from 2 Plus Tough, talk about these a number of years ago. And then when I was at my local hardware store here in Sydney, Australia, Bunnings being the store, I saw them and was like, this is what he had. for some of his bits for a while. Now, I've got quite a few, as you can see, different bits and pieces in here. Let's think about this. I need a backpack. Now, that would have been on the other side. So we'll try and show you what I've got here. Sit that back. Right. Got lots of parts in here. Not as many as some of the other armies I've collected, but quite a few. Now, I was thinking taking one of these. This is a... if the camera will... I can see it or not. I don't know. There we are. That's better. See, it's one of the... oh, jeez. No, it's just not going to do it. I apologise, everybody. The camera is set to manual focus, but for some reason, everything just goes out of focus even after all the tinkering. And then it just goes back to automatic, which is so annoying. So annoying. Let's try hitting that again and hope that it can just stick where I want it. Is that better? Yeah, that's a little bit better. All right. Sorry about that, everyone. Yeah, I think that will be a better centerpiece for that part of the backpack, but it does look quite different. So I'm wondering what else I've got here that I could use as well. Not sure. I'll check the other side of the tactics case. See what else I might be able to salvage. Now, I still might get some other parts out of here later. It's quite possible. Throughout the build. We'll see. Right. Now, there's quite a few bits in here. As you can see, not all of these are actually Kharadron Overlords, or sorry, Leagues of Votann. Some of them are Kharadron Overlords, Fyreslayers, Dispossessed, very old fantasy, Warhammer Fantasy Battle Dwarves. With bits like this and that. Plenty of spares of dwarfy-like things. Now, that was the other option of backpack. The one from the Ironhead Squats from Necromunda. Yeah, it is bigger, but I don't think it would suit the look. So I'll keep that in here. Yeah. Okay, we'll see how that goes. Let's see how that goes first. Right. Let's close this. Take it away. Right. Now, let's start by cutting out the parts that we know we need that might be tricky. And I think I'll start with the Codewright parts, because I need to do this backpack bit. And I really don't want to stuff it up. But I might stuff it up. We'll see. We'll see what happens. See what happens. Alright, let's... now the camera's adjusted. Start cutting these parts out. Now, I really don't want this thin bit up the top to break. And I'm not sure how I'm going to cut these bits off without... because that rack bit still needs to be on there. I think what I'll do is I'll just cut the bottom bit of that out and then just stick that in. That, I think, is what I'll do. It just makes it look a little bit more Leagues of Votann-y, I think, anyway. Alright, let's just check the instructions on the back of that thing. I know it's fairly straightforward, but... okay. We need this bit. The bit with all the books, all the different bits of written information. I wonder what I'll use the body for this guy for. I'm sure I'll be able to make him into something at some stage. Anyway, what else? We need 9 and 10 and 11 actually, and 10 ironically goes on the far side. So we'll sit this like this, I guess. That way I know what part goes where. Then we've got this one here. That bit. That bit. Whoa! Now, has anyone out there thought to kitbash their Grimnyr? Anyone given that a go in some way? It's alright if you haven't, you don't have to, by any means. But be curious to know if anyone's done that or thought about doing it. Be very interested to know. Oh boy. Just thinking about it, I work on all these Leagues of Votann and that lately. I've hardly had any time to work on my Primaris Marine Force or my Horus Heresy Space Marine Force. It's just taken... Both those armies have kind of taken the... been put on the back shelf, so to speak, for a while. They're not being worked on right now. Oh well, in time. In time. Okay, we'll put this rest of this sprue away now. So we've cut off what we need from that to do what we want to do. So we'll get rid of that. Right. Leave that up there. Clean up these parts. And get them ready to be kitbashed. Yeah. It's good having, like I said, if you're into certain armies with Warhammer, 40k, or Age of Sigmar sometimes, if you collect certain things from the other game system, or Necromunda, etc., lots of things you can do for, part swapping, kit bashing, and converting, just to give a little bit of unique flavour to your own army, which I think is one of the best things of all in the hobby. And I've said that here on the channel multiple times, and I will continue to say it. It's my favourite part of the hobby. Kit bashing, converting, coming up with something, or seeing something that someone's done online and going, oh, that looks really cool, or, lots of things can give you inspiration, even things from movies and stuff like that. So much. Like, I have a rather large Tau army, and I have a whole bunch of different alien auxiliaries converted up. And one of them is made from the skinks from the Seraphon range. I guess the old skinks. And they look great, but the whole idea of me making them was because I was playing Halo at the time, Halo 4, quite a bit. And Halo 4 and Halo Reach it was. I was playing a lot at the time. And I decided pretty much right then and there that, you know what? I really like those jackals. Like the little energy shields and stuff. And I turned the Seraphon shields, like the ones from the Saurus Warriors, and the little ones that the skinks have, into these two-part little shields that they go around with, and having the gun, like, coming out off one arm, intersecting where the shield is and stuff. It looked really cool, I thought. And yeah, it was a lot of fun to make, all of them. I think I used scarabs, Necron the scarabs, like the old ones, I think I used some of them as their backpacks, like parts of them for the backpacks on these things. Because I wanted them to have some Tau bits on them, yeah, but I wanted them to clearly have come to the Tau Empire with their own form of advanced, perhaps, technology. And to look a little, have their stuff look a little unique. Yeah, I did a lot of auxiliary stuff for Tau, thinking about it. I did humans as well. Wevesa, or however you pronounce it. Human helpers. And basically they're just Imperial Guard count as for Tau. And you could either play them as Tau or Imperial Guard, really. I had a couple of Lehman Russes as well, with like railguns and things like that. And they just either count as Tau things, hammerheads and etc. But yeah, there's lots of things you can come up with, and it's not like you have to follow everything that Games Workshop recommends to do or whatever with kitbashes and stuff. You can do what you like. If you've got a good gaming group, good friends that you can play with, they'll let you quite often try new things or use some WYSIWYG things. What you see is what you get stuff, or count as, and things like that. Like, there's no reason why you can't. It's just, obviously if you're going to like a Games Workshop tournament or something official, you probably need something that's a little bit more genuine, or more obviously can be determined what it is. So some kitbashes and conversions you might have to be careful with, depending on what you're using, but most part, it shouldn't matter. Do what makes you happy. They're your models. You paid money for them, or somebody brought them for you, gifted them, whatever the case may be. They're yours. Do what you want. Don't be limited by Games Workshop's now sort of limiting of people and what they do. I remember when kit bashing and stuff was highly encouraged by them. Like, so highly encouraged. Every White Dwarf, every codex would have ideas and examples of it and what you could do. And I think it's a real shame that they sort of don't show that as much. But, they still show things off on Warhammer Community and things of that nature. So it's not like they're anti the kit bashing. They just haven't made it lore-wise as easy. Well, not so much lore-wise, rules-wise, I meant to say. They haven't made it as easy. They're streamlining things, though, at the same time, so I can't complain too much. It just wouldn't be fair. Now, I'm wondering how I should cut this out. I'm thinking I'll cut a little bit off this way. A little bit off this way. Oh. And if I can keep that bit on. Hey, there we are. See, sometimes when you're kit bashing like I am here, I have a basic plan in my head, but I don't 100% know how it's going to work out, or if it's going to work out. And that's getting a bit hairy, shall we say. Oh, well. I was trying to keep that little bit on there. I thought it could go up in front of here and I could file that back, but that doesn't matter. Any of that doesn't even need to be done, but I'm doing it just to help make it a little less, like I said, a little less Kharadron Overlordy, a little bit more Votann-y. In this case, a little bit more classic, what you might expect from their technology. So, let's glue this strange bit on. Right, we'll just get that about right. Now, sometimes I would file these bits down and stuff, make it all more accurate. I'm not too worried though, because that seems to sit pretty good. And any issues I have with it, I can just put a little bit of putty, fill any gaps. Now, probably should have kept that other thing out, shouldn't I? Now I don't know which way around to do this. Does it go up? Maybe I should have glued this on first. See, now you're finding out. If you're going to kitbash this thing like this, glue this fucking thing, excuse my language, glue the book bit on first, perhaps. That might be a better idea. Does it go that way? Or does it go the other way? I think it goes the other way. Oh no. It goes that way so that can go on. Aha. Right. And then that holds over the books. Sort of looks like it helps keep them in place. Blah, blah, blah. Righto. Pretty sure that's how that goes. Fortunately, I do have that other instruction booklet over here. I didn't put it too far away. I'll just check. Yes, that's exactly how it goes. So we'll get a bit of glue. I'll just put that in these little inserts, as you can see, little line joints, or whatever you might call them. And you can just stick that bit on there. And actually, I didn't notice that at first. Should probably put a bit of glue on each of these corners so it holds the book's thing in place a little more securely. Now I think is a time where I can just sort of reattach that to the bottom. Maybe not. That side needs to get reduced a little. And the center a bit as well. Alright. Leave that for a sec. This on here. Side on there. 10 goes on this side. And part 11 goes on that side. Alright, I even remember what number they were. Alright. That's not something I usually bother to recall. Anyway. This one goes across. Whoa! There's a little droplet of glue on there. Let's move that out of the way. Probably should have grabbed a couple of tissues. And I'd recommend that you do the same, either some tissues or paper towel or something, just to wipe up excess glue when working with the models in general, let alone kit bashing and converting. Fucking bloody hell. Excuse my language. I'm just throwing things around, and as you can see, I'm swearing at myself for being so stupid. Anyway. Don't mind my self-deprecating humour. I'm not, I'm not trying to hurt myself or anything like that. It's just I'm Australian and I like self-deprecating humour. If you can laugh at yourself and your own faults, then I think if you can laugh at your own, you can laugh at other people's. And, not like in a cruel way, I mean, like, if you can see the faults in yourself and laugh at them, then, then you can share in the joke with other people, so to speak. Like, it doesn't have to be something against you. Now, I'm not sure, but I am concerned about how and where I put this bit. Because I think it may have been in the bit I cut off. And if it was, then whoops. No, not quite, apparently. It somehow goes where? The heck? I just don't see where that goes. At all. Oh boy. Have I done this? No, it's the other way. What am I thinking? It's this way, isn't it? That goes in, like, must go in. I see. That little hole in there holds the little rivet bit on there, does it? Does it go like that? Something like that. That's what I'm thinking. That's what it looks like over here. This goes in straight up. Oh. Hey. Alrighty. Seems quite... There we are. There we go. So that's kind of how that goes. And you need... what? This one here, but that way around. Alright. And this one, this way around. Alright. Alright, that was just a little bit stuck in the middle of the book, a little plastic bit of scrap that I just needed to blow away. Get rid of without damaging things. Right, and then that basically goes. Right. So that's the apparatus of this bit. Done. Well, mostly done. I've got to re-glue this bit back on, obviously. Sorry, let's do that. And we can sit it aside and work out how exactly we're going to attach all of this to my Lord Grimnyr. I'm happy to leave that little gap because I'll just fill that later on before I paint it. Yeah, that's not so bad. Like that. Anyway, I'll set that upright just there. That way we can see it. It's obvious. And yeah. Alrighty. Let's clear some of this stuff away. And actually get to work on the body of the Grimnyr himself. Let's have a look at that. Now, we start with 1 and 2. That's it's always good to start with 1 and 2. Well, it's not always. With these kits, sometimes I don't start with 1 and 2. But it feels better when you start with 1 and 2, I think. It seems like it's the beginning. Right, there's number 2. So begin to cut it out. Very carefully. Don't want to damage anything. For now. There's number 1. Probably someone watching this video that might be like, 1's right there. Why can't you see it? 1's right there. No, it's over here. But yeah, with age, I think my eyes are getting worse. It's hard for me to see grey on grey. Anyway, do my best. Struggle through. It's part number 3. We need that one as well right now. Try to do the best we can. There. Then we've got number 4 as well. It seems to be quite an important part. Alrighty, down here. That. There we go. Part number 4. Seeing there's not too much to this model, I will continue with the cutting out of the parts. I'll go 5, 6, and 7, I believe. See, that's going to be tricky to put this on that. It's going to cover a lot of that wonderful cloak, which is the only thing I don't like about my conversion idea. / kitbash / customization. It's going to cover that up, and it won't look as nice when it's painted up, I don't think. It'll look a bit busy. But, again, I'm doing this so that my army is unique in its appearance. Different to the other Leagues of Votann armies. At least in my area. Although I would be flattered if other people did things similar to what I did, even if, you know, they didn't get the idea from me. I'd just be like, oh, cool. We think alike. I think I'll clean up these parts. And actually, I will get out the next few other bits. I'll get the head out and the 2 arms. And then I'll clean them up, actually. That way I can just build the main body and everything and just sort of see before I put the arms on. Like dry fit this and just see how things will sit. And if some bits need to be adjusted, cut, you know, reshaped, anything, like we'll be able to see. With a little more clarity, I believe. So we'll go with the hood. So I think it's all good in the hood. Bad joke. Sorry. Sorry, everyone. That was terrible. You don't come here for the jokes. If you do, then my goodness, you know, like there's a lot better out there. I'll just leave the instructions out so I can see what I'm doing when I get up to that. And I'll just carefully smoothing out that bit because it's got some nice shape to it around it, so I don't want to cut into the hood. I just want to make it nice and smooth and the right directions. There we are. Just be careful when cleaning up your parts. Again, like I'm cutting towards myself, which, you know, can be problematic for some people. So don't do as I do and don't cut towards yourself. Alrighty. Fortunately, there's not too much in the way of mold lines that I'm seeing on any of the Grimnyr, so not so much too much cleanup or anything on this one. Quite nice, actually. Alright. Oh, you know, arguably you could say there's one there, but I mean that's so tiny and it's going to be underneath, and it's a piece of rock. It's just a rock and slightly enlarged rock edge that will be facing down and no one will see, so I'm not worried about that. So I'll leave that. Anything that saves me a bit of time. All this. Hey. I like that some of the kits these days are becoming in some ways more thoughtful about where they put the sprue gates and stuff like that. Putting them on the angles where, you know, the bits glue together or something like that, so you don't see as much of the cutting. Or it's very small and minute and on an angle or on the side or something. I like that. Again, I should be careful what I hum. Might get copyright striked. Doubt it, but it could happen. Alright, we've gone from some pretty cold days here in Sydney in the last few weeks to some really warm ones. It's really, spring is really, really here. I don't mind it warming up a bit. I have been quite cold to the bone for a little while. it is nice to get some warmth again. And to see some really nice sunny days, you know, go outside and do some work in the garden. Which I have been doing, because we need to get our garden going good and fix the fence and a few other things around the house. It's annoying that you have to do these things, but, you know, they've got to be done. It's nicer to do it on days that are nice and warm and stuff, and you know, you're not cold and shivering and then getting sweaty at the same time because you're wearing all that warm clothing and then working in the sun as well. So, no, it's nice to not feel uncomfortable whilst doing it all. Although when it gets hotter, then it will be too hot and too uncomfortable because it'll just be hot and sweaty the whole time. So, yeah, swings and roundabouts. All right, now, for goodness sake, now I'm not sure which part's what. Damn, I really should have thought about this. I think that's 1 and this is 2. Yeah, I'm pretty sure of that. Okay, and that goes up there. Yes. Oh dear, I thought I'd made a big boo-boo then. You would have seen it. You would have seen it. If you've watched up to here or you skipped up to here, you would have seen it. And been like, hey, what did you do that for? Anyway, I actually missed a tiny little, didn't notice, it's a tiny little bit to clean up there. And that little bit. Did I get that? It's better than it was. Alright. Alrighty. Okay. That's interesting. That's nice and smooth again. Alright. Then we've got number 3. And how the heck does that go on? Does it go on like that? It does. Alrighty. Glue along the lines. And that little bit, I think, as well. Like that. Alright. Alrighty. Alright. I'm really missing some of these little bits that I just didn't clean off as well. Missed entirely. It's a little annoying. Especially when you've already got glue on it. It sort of stuffs things up a bit. Well, make sure you don't stuff up like that. Okay, number 4. Now, that's got to be this one. Right? And that goes there. Despite this being a little annoying, with all the parts being just all over the shop, sort of like it's not a body, it's not a head, it's, you know, it's not like the old school model kits. It's dynamic poses and all this sort of stuff. It's still very good, don't get me wrong. I do appreciate, though, that, like, for instance, on this kit, how well, despite all that, this goes together. Like, the parts really do fit well together. And the way the joins are and the folds in the material, it covers any possible, like, you know, gaps and stuff that might look not great. You know, like, they're hidden. That's really good. I like that. That's good computer designing. Good CAD software they've got there. Now, which one of these goes where? Does this one go there? Yeah, the little one goes there, I think. Maybe. I think this one. Jeez. Does it? See, there's a little internal keyed bit there, and I'm not sure which part of this, how it sits exactly. It's a little annoying. I think it's like that. But if it's like that, it doesn't... Oh well, it's not like that bit's got glue. Let's put the glue on there and get those bits well and truly joined. Get the glue in there, get a bit of glue in there. Okay, so that must go in there. It just must. Which means that bit has to go like that. It doesn't like to sit there though. Yeah, I think that's about right. That seems about... Oh, that seems more right, actually. Yeah, that's more accurate. I see, that clicks in a bit better too when you get it like that. If I can get it back there again. Anyway, hopefully that's about right. Find out soon enough. Nope, that's not right, I don't think. Look at the one on the thing. Does that look at all right? No, not quite. Jeez. Shit. I'm not doing that part very well, I don't think. I just don't think I've got it lined up right. They are supposed to connect at some point, I think. But I don't know where, how, what, any of it. I actually think it's just like that. Just that tiny little connection between those and that. Let's do that then. Good enough for me. Alrighty. That bit's looking reasonable. Set that down. Get this back piece. That clearly has to go on here. Start getting points of contact. Whatever bit has to go there. Let's get them covered with some glue. So we can then sit that down. For instance. See, there's nice detail even under there that we're just not going to see half as much because of how this cape goes on. It'd be nice if there was an option perhaps without the extra big cape. And I mean, like, so you could have like a Grimnyr and then the Lord Grimnyr has the cape. I think, you know, I think that would be cool. But either way, still all good. Still a wonderful, wonderful model. Yeah. I'm not sure about sticking this arm in, but we'll see how we go. I'm hoping I'm not making a mistake doing this. I think that's how it goes. With that being more like that and that like that. Yeah. Nice and leveled out. Alrighty. That's looking quite cool. That means that hand is well out of the way of that. And I suppose that could go on his back still, like it could, and you know, you'll still see that and that, and you know, it's a bit busy. But I think that could look cool. See, I'm just making up tunes as I go now, so no, that's not part of a song. Don't strike me down. Let's put this other arm in. It sits a little bit better further back like that. Actually. Yeah, and that's a better elbow joint sort of thing going on there. All right. Sit him like that for a minute. Let's get this head in place. I think what I might do is not glue the backpack bit on, just find a way to get it to sit like the way I want, where I want, and then paint it separately, I think, just because of all the Yeah, I want to paint the back of the cape and stuff. I want it all to look nice. I don't want things in the way. Now, this arm is going to be tricky, I imagine. I think I might have to reposition it so his staff is facing forward instead of up. That's what I'm suspecting, just because of these other bits might just be in the way. Can I bend that? Probably not. Looks of it. That's not going to bend much. Thought I'd check, just in case. So I can kind of get that there, but it's this bottom bit that's really in the way. So what I might do is actually just break that off. Not have that bit on it. And then sort of bend this one out a bit and do that and that. Just so it's got a little more width and whatever to it. I'll do that a bit. Now, does that fit a bit better? For you, Lord Grimnyr. I think that's a little better. Does that look alright to you guys? You peeps out there? Does he look okay? I think he looks good like that. Personally, I think he looks really good like that. But, you know, each their own. No, that sits up like that. And that doesn't really sit anywhere. What if I can... What a pain. Because I keep putting too much pressure on that area, it's not going to stick properly. So just do that. Get that to sit a bit. Right, so much for this bit. I might put that on at the end sometime. Like I might put something else at the bottom. Cover the gap. Obviously I could use some milliput or green stuff or something to sculpt something. But yeah, I think for the most part I'm almost done. I just need to glue this to a base. But the problem is even that doesn't want to sit on its own, does it? That's right, because there's another bit. What am I thinking? There was a cratery bit. There it is. This is how we do it. Cut this out. Let's see. Clean this up a bit. Yeah, I like when you get a conversion idea or kitbash idea and you start working on it and it all eventually, like if sometimes at first it's like, oh, I don't know if this is going to work and yada yada, but then eventually you come up with ideas, you problem solve, and then soon enough, you've done it. And it looks good. I think that looks good. And I actually think that arm being like that looks good. Instead of back there, and I could fill that gap. And that would fit on a lot better. How good's that? I think that's great. Alrighty. Let's glue this to the base, and then glue the Grimnyr down. Now you don't have to glue your Grimnyr down to the base, like when you're making yours. You could leave it off so you can do basing and painting and all that separately. I don't worry about that as much because I like my characters and my miniatures basically. When I can, to like, you know, you put them on the base, you spray the whole thing, you do the basing, then you spray the whole thing. And then after you've painted the model, you go back and I find I then paint the rest of the details on the base with dry brushing, etc. And I find that then you are able to get like dirt and dust up and around the boots and everything matching the color of the ground that they're walking on. And I think that's a good and quick way to weather a little. Just a shortcut by just literally like going over, touching the bits of the model accidentally, basically, while you're accidentally on purpose, I might say, just while you're doing everything else. And I think that gives a good result. And you can do little touch-ups and extra highlights and, you know, make it a little bit more perfect. But I honestly think it's a wonderful way to do it, and that's how I'll be tackling that. Going to put a bit of glue on those bits just for wherever they end up. That's not how it goes, is it? Or is it? I actually think that's supposed to be on a different angle. I think it's supposed to be the other way around. But no, that is how it goes. But then again, I could have the foot at a slightly wrong angle or something for how it's really intended to go. But that's how I'm going to do mine. There he is on the base. And as I say, this one will be my Lord Grimnyr. And eventually I will get another one, at least one, for my Leagues of Votann. And I'll build that one with the opposite head option. And then I won't bother with the fancy big backpack. But to give you the idea, that's what it's going to look like. I could have blue tacked it in place, but instead I'm just going to hold it there and turn it for you. Now, when he's painted up and stuff, and the backpack's painted up, obviously that will be glued on, and I'll put something at the bottom, like I said, some sculptors, whether it's milliput or green stuff or something, just to cover in the gaps. And yeah, a little gap under the arm over here as well. As you can see, there's a tiny little gap there. I'll fill that in as well. But yeah, this is my Lord Grimnyr. This was a long video for a small one miniature kit bash, almost an hour. But if you were able to sit and, you know, make it through this, I really appreciate your time. And can I remind you, once again, please give us a subscription, hit that notification bell, and if you enjoyed the content in any way or found it helpful or, you know, maybe inspirational, give it a like. And yeah, put some comments down below if you have any ideas about this kit bash or about Grimnyr in general, or Lord Grimnyrs in Leagues of Votann armies, etc. Be really interested to hear what you have to say. Be nice to get a conversation going. Even if you want to talk about something that's not Leagues of Votann. Like, you know, I love Warhammer 40k. I've focused on the Leagues of Votann at the moment because they're my newest army. It's as simple as that. The timing, that's it. But yeah, we'll see a lot more on the channel as time goes on, from different armies and bits and bobs, but there's still a lot more to come for the Leagues of Votann, as I've made a sizable little force, and I'd really like to show off what I'm doing with that. Anyway, I've been your host, Matt the Hat. I thank you very much for your time, and I'll catch you in the next one. Yeah, as you can see, I'll just glue that on, fill the gap, fill the little thing on here with something, make it look a little bit more better, and yeah, I'll just sit there. Yeah, you still see plenty of the cape. I like it. Just kidding. Not really done yet, are we? We still have, for anyone else that is interested, we still have these little cogs to do. So we will do those, and we'll do them hopefully in a nice manner. Let's get them done. All right. We start with 15 and 16, apparently. So we'll cut this one out. Yeah, so what do you think of the Grimnyr there, eh? Think it's a cool idea? I thought it was a cool idea. Yeah. Apparently there's 2 of that, so that's times 2. Numbered the same. I'd really like to see whatever Games Workshop comes up with next for these guys. Like, obviously, I'm very happy to see all the other things they've come out with, especially recently, like the absolutely wonderful new Primaris stuff, the Terminators, the Chaplain, you know, the Librarian, the new Assault Marines. They look brilliant. Yeah, I'm very happy to see all that, and I imagine it might be some time before I can buy all those things, but one day I'll hopefully have them in my Primaris army. Anyone happy with the new releases? Quite a few exciting miniatures amongst the lot. The Command Squad, like even Valrek said, that's his favourite out of that lot, and I don't know if I completely agree, but I'm absolutely ecstatic though that they did redo the Command Squad, because that was always a wonderful option, I thought, in the with the I guess the original Marines, Firstborn, as they call them. That's what I was trying to think of, the Firstborn. I couldn't think of what they called them. I was going to call them the Mini Marines because they're a little bit smaller. Wow, couldn't think of Firstborn. Jeez. Heresy. Anyway, let's clean these up. Oh, I could feel that wanted to bend there. Yeah, that bit wanted to go. So just be careful if you put any pressure around this little bit here. It feels sturdy, but then when you move the blade, and at the moment this is a really blunt blade, I need to replace it. I just can't find where my blades are at the moment. I've moved a lot of stuff around. I'm not sure where I put the blades. So that ever happened to you lot? You move your hobby supplies and things around, and you tidy everything up, and you make it all nice, but then you forget where you've put all the new, like all the new places. Like you forget where you've put what, and it just becomes a shit fight. In my experience, that's how I find things quite often. Now I'm going for the taller 2 out of the 3 of these. Now, I don't always glue things to these flying bases straight away, for the simple fact that I tend to like to spray paint my miniatures. Now, you could tape these if you were going to just glue them straight on, but I'm thinking I won't glue them straight on. Like with this Grimnyr, I think I need to... Well, I'll glue them to the base, but I think what I'll need to do is blue tack it, like I intended to do with this guy. So I've got some blue tack around here somewhere. I'll get that in a little bit. In the meantime, let's glue the 2 Corvs parts together. Let's get a little bit of that dried glue off the end. Alrighty. Get that in there. There, and that bit. Alrighty. Now, I do, believe it or not, I do actually want to change parts of this. Now, see the little bird bit on that crest? I'm going to keep it on there for the time being, because I have to find the other parts to do it. And when I do, I'll come back and I'll record the last bit. So I apologise for not having that part out already. It's just initially I think I was going to leave them as they were, but then I thought, you know what? Again, this is my army, my stuff. Let's make them more like my stuff. So, do that personalisation. Why not? Yeah, I think they look really cool. Actually, let's get them up close so you can have a better look. Yeah, I think they look really good. Yeah. Now, nothing too exciting to this, just a bit of glue to put on the stand. Bottom there. Stick it straight on there like that. And I'll try, because these things put the weight in a slightly different spot to what the central ones used to do. I'm going to glue mine a little bit closer to the back, just like it shows here on the base. Here in the instructions, you can see that they have definitely put them towards the back of the base, and that's just for the weight. It puts the central weight closer to the middle as opposed to the front, which is where it would be if you centralized these types of bases or stands. That's probably more accurate. There we are. Try and make that look straight on from there. That's a bit alright. A little bit of that stuff going on, but that's alright. And you get the idea. They would sit like this. Alright. Now I'm just going to pause the recording. Now that we're going a bit over an hour, I need to find some Fyreslayers parts to better kitbash these corves. Just give me 5 minutes and I'll be back. Now, mind you, it'll be instantaneous for you. Alrighty then. Now, it's been a few minutes. I had a little look around for some spare parts, and I'm pretty happy with what I found. I've got these two Fyreslayer Mohawk bits with the little dragon motif on there. Now, I'm just going to clean these up and carefully cut some of the parts of it away. And then I'll cut the bits off the corves where they will sort of line up. And yeah, we'll see how that goes together. Now, it's one of the themes that I've carried on throughout my force. All the sort of like the commander models or like the sergeant equivalents. Like, I can't remember what you call them. The ones that lead the squads and stuff. Like, they've all got mohawks, or if they've got this thing, they've got a mohawk up on that. The Iron Here champions, though, they've got a mohawk directly on their helmet. So that's a little different, obviously. That's oh, there's a little bit on the underside of these horns. I did not see that. I was about to start cutting. Didn't even have this fully ready. I think that's that one. I'll just check this again. Yep, there's that little one on the horn. Again, it's really helpful having these other forces previously, like the old dwarves, like really old fantasy dwarves, and then the sort of dispossessed sort of dwarves, the Fyreslayers, and the and the Kharadron Overlords, because it means that, you know, even if I did buy a special kit to kitbash for any of those other armies, I've then got spare parts left over for that could be used again for kitbashes in the other army. So, like, I've still got other leftover Fyreslayer bits for Fyreslayers, leftover Kharadron Overlord bits for Kharadron Overlords, and, you know, all of them for this. For the Leagues of Votann now as well. because that's the one thing I think was missing from the Leagues of Votann. Now, I do like that they're not, that they're more sort of secular and they don't have the old school sort of dwarf aesthetic completely. I do like that. It does show that they're advanced and that they don't, really worry about these sort of trinkets and bits and bobs. That's what the other humans, so to speak, of the galaxy do quite well within the Imperium. So that helps give these guys a little bit of a different flavour from that and from other classic dwarves, which I do like, don't get me wrong. I just think, given the options that are available, that I would prefer to do things this way. Just to make them different. And look, I don't know how well you can see this on the camera, but there's a small little edge running along just behind, or just in front, or behind, depending how your point of view, of this little head, this bird beak, and that. And I just want to cut alongside that. I don't want to destroy that detail. I actually want to keep it if I can. So I check both sides that the clippers aren't pushing into that too much, and I just do that. And then this side I'm not as worried about, so it'd be nice to save this beak, but I'd rather cut it away if it meant I can keep the little bit of detail. See, just like that. And this bit's a little too smooth, it'll just cause me to slide with the clippers, and I don't want to do that. Now, there are other ways that you could do this. Obviously, you could have done this before putting it together, or putting it on the miniature. But, yeah, I'm doing things my way. My way is not always the best way, but helps me save some time, I think. But, I could be wrong. I could be taking the fucking, excuse my language, the long way to do everything. I'm sorry I've been swearing so much lately. The last few videos I've just sworn every so often. Let's just see how that goes. Now, if I put that on there, that looks pretty crap, like that. Alright, so what I need to do is have that bit go down there. I don't mind if the head of the dragon thing is pointing down with the spike down. I don't mind that. It does, however, mean I have to cut all this bit out and try not to cut that bottom jaw. So what I'll do is I'll just do that a little. So flatten this bit out and leave that jaw nice and raised so that I can more easily differentiate between the bits, so to speak, that I want to keep and the bits I want to cut out. Bits that can go and the bits that I need to remain. That detail. And I can clean it up a bit more after. Now, you got this little bit here, sorry, on the right there, just before the hair. I'm going to cut that right off. Just like that. Right. Just sort of break that bit off. Now, I can go underneath the lower part of that jaw and just cut directly in and just hold that so it doesn't split too far. If you don't put enough pressure on the sides here, that'll split right through into the hair, and then you'll lose part of that bit. So what I'm going to do is, like I said, I've just done that. So I'll cut this little corner of that out. Now I can get my blade, or the blade section of the clippers, up behind the lower part of that jaw. Now, I'm just going to sit it a little off of it, push in, and I'm going to do the same thing holding here. See how much further that one to split up there? Almost took off the head and could have split right up here. We don't want that to happen. So I'll cut this little bit out. That little bit. Oh, see, look. It just split. Want to try and avoid that happening, because then it's more likely to break off, and it's going to be shit work trying to get that glued back on in place. It's just a pain in the ass. So it happens. I'll do that a little bit. I imagine the other one might split if I'm doing it the same way. These things happen though. like I say, nothing's guaranteed, especially when you're customizing parts like this much. And like I say, I'm not doing it in the most safest of ways. I'm butchering this, frankly. And look at that. It's really splitting. You can see it. You can see my finger through the gap. It's not what we want. Want that to glue back together, if anything. So it's going to be a little tricky doing this here. Try and get that out of there. Right. Then I've got to go over the bit where it does a split. Clean up the bottom jaw. Yeah. Get those straight edges off of there and just get it back into the shape of that dragon's bottom jaw, because it's kind of curved. It goes back up, so you just kind of want to follow that. Just gently with the knife, not putting too much pressure. Firm, yes, but not putting too much pressure, just so that you can glide it along. Just guide it right where you need it to be. Just gently go around that little bit of detail there. Whoa, whoa, whoa. See, look at that. Blade got caught under it and split it further. So I'm going to be very careful with that now. I've got to put a lot of pressure behind it with my finger to keep it where it is and to try and smooth that out. Now that could break any second. So I'm just going to consider this bit done for the second and just look at this. I've already sort of cut and prepared a little, sorry. Just see how that might sit if that was there. So obviously I've got to smooth those little things, those little bits on here, as you can see, little studs. And that, I've just got to smooth them off, put that in, and I don't mind if it has a little gap up here, ultimately, because I'll fill that with putty and I'll just extend the hairlines down, and it'll just, yeah, I'll probably use some green stuff for that, and that'll be something that I do just before the painting process. I won't bother showing that because, I mean, you know how to mix up green stuff, you know how to make milliput, and if you don't, it's fairly simple. Just mix the bits together. And pretty much Bob's your own call. So, like, I can put that like that there and either fill that gap, right? Or I could cut the further studs off further down and put it even further back, but I won't. I think I'll just do it like that and fill the gaps as they are. Because that bit could just be, like I say, a little bit extra hair, and I could just thicken it a bit, and then maybe even thicken a little bit over the where it's sort of split a little that way. That way. Looks better. Okay, that looks good. As you can see, this split is now exaggerating a little, and I don't want to stuff up the detail of the hair, so I'm just gently, very gently going to put a tiny little slither of glue down that gap on this side, down the same gap on the other side. That was probably a little much. Let's just get this to a nice fine point. Clean up any excess, like that. Now that should help it to rebond, and as I do that, it pushes them back together. You can see it's pushing the glue out of the gap as well a bit. So let's just go over that with the tissue, just like that. And the other side too, just a little bit, so it doesn't ruin some of the detail that's there, but it just enhances it. Right, sorry, I moved that way close. But yeah, that's basically the difference. It's just that instead of that. Okay. Now I think I'll just do the other one off camera. You know, if you've been here for this video the whole time, you've been here for what, an hour and a half or something like that, hour and 20 minutes. You don't need a longer video for making this. But yeah, it gives you the idea. That's what they look like normally, and that's what they look like in my army. But yeah, if you like that and this content, like I've said before, please give us that subscription, a like, and hit the notification bell so you can stay up to date. Now, I've probably said that more times in this video than I have in any thus far. And yeah, I'm hoping that one day this channel will improve with the quality of the content and, you know, enhance and enlarge in the community here. And hopefully we can make it to a larger amount of subscribers over time. It'd be really nice if I could get to 100 subscribers by the end of the year. That would be a goal for me. If I could do that, I know it's a small goal, but it's a goal nonetheless. It would be really nice if we could meet that goal. And it'd be really good, I think, if I could do a bit over 100 videos before the end of the year. I don't know if I can do that, but I certainly will try. Yeah. What do you think about those plans? And what do you think of the Grimnyr? Or the Lord Grimnyr? Kitbash with his kitbashed corvs. Anyway, I've been your host, Matt the Hat. I'll get to fixing this thing onto this corv in just a minute. And I'll do that off camera. Yeah. Thank you very much for hanging out with us today. And I'll catch you, and I mean it this time, in the next one.